Well, howdy, how's it going? My name is Winona. By golly, is it already that time again?
Oh, how time flies.
So I'm gonna sit down, buckle up, and get ready for another episode of Utter Chaos. And you know what that means.
It's time to bust out the big box of ideas.
And here he is. Ah, smells like regret. I can't shut this fully because... Oh, that was actually smoother than last time. I forgot how hard it was to open. I have muscles, trust me. Ah, smooth. It's a sign of good construction. I could be a carpenter. It's getting better. Oh, would you just look at them all? Opportunities waiting to happen, every single one of them. So let's pick one, shall we? Who is it? Who is the lucky fella? Well, 'tis the Neon Art Challenge, and it was conveniently written in a neon pen. It's potentially the OCD, actually, yeah. So basically what that entails is exactly what it is. You gather all of your supplies that you would consider to be neon and try and make something that's not too in your face. Or just go all out and make it as in your face as I possibly can.
Get your sunnies, kids. You're gonna need them.
Right, I'll go gather these supplies then, shall I? Go make yourself a cuppa. I'll be back in a tick. Second thought, that sounds really good. I'm gonna make one too. Be back.
Not gonna lie, I almost put the milk in the cupboard. It's one of those days.
And so began my search for all my neon supplies. I searched through my Poscas, fine liners, I even sifted through my Sharpie collection. Highlighters were, of course, essential, and are among the most neon things I and anyone else own. Pencils were tricky. What counts as a pure neon pencil? Do they exist? Mayhaps, but I simply do not own them. Next came the swatches, the true test of any art supply. A way to sift through the supplies posing as neons and dispose of them promptly. There were a few colours that were tricky to determine whether or not they were actually neon, and if I'm completely honest, my eyes couldn't tell the difference between bright and light by the end of it. Blues and oranges were the most difficult, and I was reluctant to leave any. I feel my job of sorting would have been made easier if the inks actually matched the colour of the lids. I was bamboozled by false neons one too many times. Next I swatched on black paper, and of course all the wet media absorbed straight into the paper and wasn't really visible. I had expected this and wasn't surprised, but did I still continue to swatch them all? Yes. The pencils, however, worked a treat. 10 out of 10, would do again. This little swatch test cut down my haul of neon significantly, and it was now time to get to work.
So I think I've determined that the white paper is the way to go. I really wanted to do a night scene with the black paper. I think that would have been really cool. Look, if I'm completely honest, I didn't have much faith for most of these things working on the black paper. The textures, the markers, the highlighters, the fine liners, they were a bust. I knew everything was going to absorb in there, but I just gave it a shot anyway, because, you know, why not? The pencils I knew would work, but whether or not they would look neon on the black paper, that was another story. But surprisingly, they actually turned out really good. I'm so tempted to just forget the rest of the supplies even exist and just use the black paper, do a night scene of like a futuristic cityscape with a whole bunch of neon lights everywhere. That would be really cool. But I feel like I have to use the rest of the supplies as well. I wonder if I could combine the two. I may be getting an idea here. Say if I create like assets on the white paper using the textures, the one neon alcohol marker that I have, the highlighters, and the fine liners, maybe I could cut them out and stick them on the black paper, and then I could use the pencils to create that kind of neon light glow. I'm pushing it, but it might work. As for these fellas, I have no idea if I'm actually going to use them. I just saw neon and went, yep, I'll have ya. They might come in handy for something. We'll see. If not, no big deal, because they're not really art supplies. They're stationary, but you don't really use them for art, you know? It's for creating notes, which I do all the time. Although not with sticky notes. I don't know why I have them. I just use my handy dandy phone because it's always with me, and that's when I have ideas, is out and about, and a sticky note is just not going to help me. I don't know what to do. I really want to do this night scene. I do have another idea. Trying to come up with something that's super colourful but kind of natural, so it's not in your face, because neons are bright. So combining all of those together in one art project, that's a lot. was trying to come up with something more natural that all of these colours would work, but it wouldn't look like a colourful mess. You know, like a unicorn had thrown up on the page. Something that doesn't make you go... The solution to this problem, you ask? Fish. Specifically, tropical fish. Potentially in a reef. Mayhaps the Great Barrier Reef. Shout out to Aussie tourism. So then that way we can kind of incorporate corals, which are also quite bright, and it won't look bleh, you know? And hopefully, being such a natural kind of scene and being able to space things out, and with those things being naturally bright colours, hopefully it doesn't look like a sensory nightmare. So there you have it. We have two options. That's for two options. Fish, neon night scene. Right, let's get cracking.
Release the Kraken!
So I'll just do a couple of thumbnail sketches so we can set out the scene and figure out where everything's going, and then I'll move on to a bigger sheet of paper. So if we have like a mound of like pink coral or something, like here, one of those ones with all the little circles and stuff. Feels like I'm drawing a bunch of boobs. We have another kind of roundish one here with like all the little spindly bits, and maybe like a tube kind of one coming out here, like so. Moving into the background, we can have one coming out like this, one of those ones that look like branches. If it is called branch coral, my thinking is if we add a couple of those flat corals, then we can kind of start to build layers up without having to add rocks, because generally rocks aren't neon. And then that way we can have a couple of starfish, and then we can have our little fishies knocking about. Wow, I am an artist. We could have one of those roundy looking ones here, you know, with the big tails, and this is... So that's one option. We could do another one where we focus more on the fish. So if we have the fish kind of bigger, like it's more zoomed in, we could have like a jellyfish or something. I like the amount of colour that we would get in this one, just because there's more variety of corals, and the fact that these platforms we can put starfish on. But I really do want to add a jellyfish as well, so I'm going to. Aside from the colour though, the composition is just off. It feels a little bit crowded, so I'm going to space it out and hopefully that'll fix it. I think the thing I'll struggle with most is adding shadows and like depth, because you can't really do that when everything's bright. But I'll damn well try. Also with these guys, I feel like the paper's just going to tear, and they don't layer evenly. They also don't blend really. It's probably going to look like trash. I will try my hardest to make it look decent. Let's get swimming with the fishes, shall we? So off camera, I set up the scene. I did a quick little sketch with this handy dandy device, this blue Prismacolor Colorase pencil. These are really good to do your underdrawings with if you're going to be working with color, because it's not as harsh as like a graphite, and so color can layer better on top of it. Handy tip there. Oh my god, am I being helpful? So now I just have to color it all in and hope that it doesn't look too, you know what I mean? You get it. Oh, would you look at that? You're getting 2 tips today. What is this, an art channel? No. By the way, I am by no means a professional, clearly. I just like doing creative stuff. Get yourself one of these bad boys, okay? This is a kneadable eraser. Oh, life-changing. Do you have something that you need to just a little teeny tiny bit needs to be erased, but this thing, way too fat to get in there? Worry no more, okay? This thing, just knead it into a little point. Just boop, perfect. Your underdrawing, way too dark. You just tap it. You just need to just lightly tap. You can roll it even, you know, and it just gets rid of like the littlest tiny bits. Precision, I'm telling you. Whew, that's quite enough helpfulness for the day, so let's get into the chaos, shall we?
Does anyone else draw on an angle? Like have to have the page like that? I'm trying so hard to keep it the normal way because, you know, you have to see it. Right, if I do just like a base layer with this orange highlighter, then hopefully I can come back with this and create shading, shadows, darker areas. I'm hoping, because I think this is darker than the highlighter. Oh dear.
We have run into our first hurdle. As it turns out, highlighters are not great. Who'd have thought? There's gonna be lines. We'll make it work. We'll make it work.
Okay, so we're essentially using this as a base layer.
This is fine.
I mean, nothing is fully just one flat colour anyway. You know? There's layers.
Layers! Onions have layers. Ogres have layers. Onions have layers. You get it. We both have layers.
I'm losing confidence, not gonna lie.
Let's see if I can redeem myself with this little fella. Honestly, at this point, I don't even know if I'm following any of the original lines that I've drawn.
Well, my second camera died, so there is a little bit of footage missing. Apologies. And we're back. You didn't really miss much. Maybe you did, I don't know. Basically, I was just colouring in these bad boys. So they're done now. I've really tried with these ones, but I think that's about as good as that's gonna get. It's so hard to get any kind of deep, dark colour because neons are bright. Highlights? Yes. Shadows? No.
I can cover a lot more ground this way, and I'm not mad about the texture. I think it kind of works for seaweed. I'll be honest with you, I'm not loving it. I think the greens are just a little too similar. I think that's our issue here. Also, this paper is starting to tear. Try and cover it up as best as I can.
Yep, that's sticking out like a sore thumb.
I like that singular strand. That's it. Right, so the next bit is this, and then that's all the coral done. I keep my kneadable eraser in this little Nutella jar, and honestly, best thing I think I've ever thought of, because I get to see a little Nutella in my pencil case every single day. Okay, that's all that outlined. This yellow one, whew, she's smooth. Oh, my eyes can't see colour anymore. It's all neon. Ah, I've got it on my hands again. Alright, so now let's just add in some non-dark areas. Where the hell did that green come from? No! Can I fix this? It is mended. Wonderful. I'm gonna break up the layers here. See? Just trust the process.
Does it look ugly? Yes. But will it look ugly when it's finished? Yes. Probably.
Is this doing anything? I don't know if that's doing anything. Compared to the actual highlighter yellow, this yellow does not look neon at all. How does that look? I can't actually tell at this point. This is so yellow that looks pink. The yellow being so bright makes this blue look really dark.
Colour Theory 101.
That'll do, donkey.
It's done. Once again, we've come to the end of an episode of Utter Chaos. I mean, I kind of like it. Some bits look like a child has done it. For the limitations I had, the fact that there's no room for like shadows pretty much, I think it worked pretty well. I'm happy. Could it have gone better? Yeah, but will I probably do this challenge again? Also yes. If you would like to see the night version on black paper, let me know. I'm keen to do that. Let me know what else you'd like to see if you've got any ideas. What would you have done with a neon challenge? I do just want to say that I'm not the first person to have done a neon challenge. Jazz has done one. Chloe Rose Art has done one. I'm just also stupid enough to do it. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed it. Thank you for following along in this chaotic journey once again. And with that, I'll see you later. Tater.